Good morning, everyone. This is Zach. It is time for another market blueprint. Today is the 4th of June at about 8:10 a.m. and it's a Wednesday, so midweek. Yeah. So, quick refresher. We'll start with our top-down analysis. This is a one-day chart. This is also a one-day chart, but this is RTH only, whereas this is ETH. If we look at these charts from the perspective of how we closed, um, well, before we even do that, let's do a quick refresher. We were in this balance area for quite a long time. I call this the all-time high balance range. We we made a high somewhere around here. We rotated down, lost the low, came back, reoffered, and then found some selling. Eventually found a buyer deep down here somewhere. And since then we've been pivoting up. Now we have re-entered this range like we discussed in the weekly forecast. And since we've re-entered the range, like we usually do, we back tested right here and now we're going up. There was a slight attempt here. I believe it was this day, so here it is. That's the range back test, and now we're going up. We made a high, but we failed to get follow through. So if this was to become a range, a mini range within the range, this one right here, um, this failed high, this look above and fail, should have created the rotation to here or to here, something like that. It didn't. They held the pivot, so this kind of became a higher low. So higher low, higher low, and now we seem to be pushing for a new high at the moment. We closed pretty bullish yesterday, which was Tuesday, and the session overall was quite bullish. Uh, and yeah, we're making new highs now, or we're trying to make new highs now, and that will be the story of today. Whether or not we can hit the 608s, which is the absolute high from this day, and reclaim the balance high that I have marked at 93, which we're at 94 right now, so we're reclaiming that as we speak. Now, in terms of a profile, I've already marked some of the levels. I did this last night. I had this big balance area. This was the last week, since last Monday. Um, from last Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday. It was the 26th to the 2nd, I believe. Yes, the 26th to the 2nd, yes. So from Monday to Monday. Um, that I turned into one composite profile. And then yesterday, since we got a breakout and there wasn't much overlap, I'm going to keep this as a standalone profile. What I'll do is I want to look at initially the shape of this profile and see what type of information we can get. Because we're breaking away from balance, the shape of this profile should give us an indication of where the buyers need to hold, um, where the breakout buyers need to hold more specifically. So what I can see is this is a P profile, P-shaped. You can also see it on the volume profile right there. And the bulk of the value is built right here. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to define the upper ledge and the lower ledge and the point of control of the bulk of value, and use that as an area for the bulls to hold. If they hold this zone, they should continue their rotation upwards. If they lose this zone, they should rebalance into this big balance that we had over here, this big one. Yeah, so the way I'm going to mark the highs and lows is I'm just going to use the value area high and low levels. What we'll do is we'll go to our RTH only chart. So you can see I have that Big balance right there. What we'll do is, yesterday we had the breakout. That is yesterday's trading session right there. What I did is I marked yesterday's value area low, the point of control, and I have not yet marked the value area high. Matter of fact, I'm not going to mark the value area high. I'll just mark the session high because they're 2 ticks apart. It's not really a big deal. So I'll just mark that as PDH, which is prior day high. Yeah, so now we have the bulk of our value here, our shelves, and our point of control. And now we can look for trade at the edges of these areas to rotate back in, or for breakout, rebid, and continuation to the upside. In terms of other levels, why don't we go to a more granular chart? Let's see. Do I have any? I'm just seeing if prior day low is marked correctly on this. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So we have PDH marked. And what I did is I also marked the pre-market low, which is the ETH low so far. I think that can be a good inflection level type of thing. If we turn this into like a 15-minute chart, for example. If they lose this low, they're very likely to head to yesterday's value area low. So I'll use it as like a mid transition point. So a level within the balance that I've defined. And as you can see, we've already started our selling from the upper area, which is kind of unfortunate. I would have loved to take a short somewhere up there. But it is way too early for me to. I like trading once the market opens. I very rarely trade outside of open market hours. Okay, so we have pre-market low right there, value area low right there. One possibility we can get is if we do get the selling, they could rebound. They could reoffer right there once they lose the point of control. Have some struggle here, and then go here, and then find your buyer right there and take it all the way back up there. We could do that similar thing, but instead lose this low. And if we lose this low, it's going to get pretty selly, to be frank. My belief is that we're gonna go pretty low, maybe previous day low, probably lower if we lose value area low. Unless it's reclaimed, of course. However, this is a pretty big line in the sand for the Bulls, in my opinion. So I'll be watching that. But yeah, like all I really wanted to do is kind of give you guys an idea of how I'm defining my areas and the ideas I have around them. There's no science really to this. All I'm doing is I've defined that. Here, let me turn on my profile. I've defined that as my bulk of value, and as long as we hold this range, bulls are fine. If they lose this range, and you see the volume picking up to the sell side, bulls are in trouble, and we will rotate pretty quickly. Yeah, if we lose this range, that means we've lost that. We're going to rotate, and that means this range high, this look above and fail, and this reoffer of the balance high will be pretty much validated. So it'll be something like to reoffer and then making this our range. And if that's the case, this low is in trouble. And if this low is in trouble, yeah, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun if this low is in trouble, because what that means is we came inside of this range, and once we came inside of this range, we tried to sustain value in it. Oh, we are selling. We tried to sustain value within it. We're unable to do so. And if we lose that low, which we just talked about, that's not good. That kind of just redefines this as a pullback. A very deep one, don't get me wrong, but a pullback nonetheless. Yeah, I don't want to get so doom and gloom, but this zone for bulls, they want to hold it, because if you can't hold this and create the rotation there, you will very likely be doing that. And then somewhere in here, they might try and bid it again, but it could also just get ugly, and you don't want to take it this deep. Taking it this steep, there's a lot of these prices that are untested here. Maybe like an EMA. What is this? The 50 SMA. You could try testing that, sure, but I would prefer we just go if I'm a bull, and I am. So I would prefer we just go rather than pull in, initiate new buying, and then take it there. Okay, I've been going off on a bit of a tangent. You guys have some levels of reference, some things to look for. That's really all trading is. As we continue to sell. That's unfortunate. It is what it is. Let me go to a more granular chart and take a look at what that looks like. Anyhow, yeah, they're picking it up. Let's see what they do at pre-market low. So yeah, as we define that level, it seems like they might try and do something there, and if they don't, then that takes us right down here. Should be interesting. Anyway, I'm gonna let this play out. You guys have some areas of references you can use. Pick your levels around those areas and wait for the contextual image of what the market is trying to do to play out. I hope you guys have a nice trading day. Stay calm, stay patient. And yeah, you know what to do. So just do it. Take care, guys. Thank you.